Last time on
Wonder Woman.
A few moments later.
Oh, no, 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 no.
What the hell is this?
Patty Jenkins does not understand Wonder Woman. Not after this. The message of this film is so screwed up. It's stupid. It is criminally stupid.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, back and mildly recharged after taking a few days off over the Christmas holiday. I hope that you had a wonderful weekend, regardless of whether or not you were celebrating something or not. I'm glad to be back in the studio, back grinding it away for you. Now, on Christmas Day, we had probably the biggest gamble Hollywood's had in a long time. And that was the dual release of Wonder Woman 1984 in the cinemas as well as HBO Max. Early numbers seem optimistic, as Warner Brothers has already said that Wonder Woman 3 is happening based on the early numbers. If you ask me, Wonder Woman's success was largely because it's kind of the first big blockbuster outside of Tenet that anyone's had a chance to look forward to, and the fact that they could watch it from home. The only problem is the movie was not good. The movie was quite poor, in my humble opinion. Now, before, if you've been watching my channel, you know. But if you're new to the channel, if you're not a subscriber, you don't know. I enjoyed the movie Paul Blart, Mall Cop. So that's my cinematic, taste. All right. So maybe I'm just completely wrong on this. What I'm saying is, if you loved it, I'm happy for you. Okay. I'm not a film critic, and I'm not saying it was objectively terrible. In my opinion, it was not great. I won't say terrible, because it did have some redeeming qualities, and Gal still crushes it as Wonder Woman. But I found the second act of the film absolutely wasted, boring. I found myself opening up YouTube videos during it. And quite honestly, they could have cut it all together. We need to get away from this 2.5 hour Marvel movie bonanza. It's lazy. To me, it doesn't smack as something amazing that you really want to watch for 3 hours. It smacks as directors don't have the stones to leave things on the cutting room floor. There's absolutely huge sections of even Infinity War that could have been cut. That movie could have been a tight 2 hours, and it would have been even better. Wonder Woman 1984 was at least a half an hour too long. And if you cut that out, maybe those action scenes get tighter. Maybe the plot tightens up a little bit. You know, there was a primary difference here. When we look at Wonder Woman, the original movie, we see some of the writers, Alan Heinberg and Zack Snyder. Okay. Now, if we look at who wrote the latest one, well, Patty Jenkins. And you have 4 more credited here, but you have a missing piece, right? You have a bit of a missing piece. You had Zack Snyder, Alan Heinberg, Jason Fuchs. Here we have Wonder Woman 1984, Patty Jenkins. Story by Patty Jenkins. So if you want to know why the pacing seemed bad, if you want to know why it seemed sloppy, it's because Patty Jenkins is extraordinarily overrated at her position and continues to be handed big franchise after big franchise. Well, mostly because we as consumers don't care. We'll see a Marvel movie, even an average one, and that's how you get more mediocrity. Acceptance of mediocrity breeds more mediocrity. You see the reactions for the film. Twitter did not love Wonder Woman 1984. In the sequel to the first film that captivated audiences in June 2017, Gal Gadot and Chris Pine are back as Diana Prince and Steve Trevor. Kristen Wiig is on board as villainous Cheetah. And Pedro Pascal plays Max Lord. And I've got another video later today about Pedro Pascal going way over the line, insulting fans. You're going to want to make sure you're tuned in for that. Now, and although Jenkins had a box office hit with her first take on Wonder Woman's story, Twitter's full of tweets who do not have favorable opinions of the second venture. Now, again, I'm not saying the movie's a 0 out of 10, or even a 1, or even a 2, or even a 3. But it suffers from, the first one was probably a hard 7.5 or even an 8, in my opinion. And we've waited so long. This movie's been so hyped up. So it's a victim of its own hype, much in the same way that Cyberpunk 2077 seemed to be. You see Gadgets 360, Wonder Woman 1984. DC sequel is a major step down from the original. Wonder Woman 1984 was hot garbage. Here's my review of Wonder Woman 1984. It's the equivalent of when all the other DC comic movies, with the exception of Wonder Woman 1. So, yes, that bad. Okay, Wonder Woman 1984 is not that great. It's perfectly fine, but the reviews I read beforehand kind of hyped it up. Tamper your expectations, and it'll seem more entertaining. Definitely a good movie, but also underwhelming if it makes any sense. Oh no, that's exactly. I think that makes great sense. And again, this is a film that was endlessly hyped up. Wonder Woman 1984, too rushed, too gimmicky, directionless at points. Pedro Pascal and Kristen Wiig were insane, though. Third act of the movie was good. My rating doesn't matter out of 10. Yeah. I mean, understand this, too, that a lot of the early reviews that you saw on Rotten Tomatoes, these were pre-embargo reviews. What does that mean? Well, that means these people are trusted shills for Disney or Marvel. So the film, I believe, was in the 70s or 80s when the first wave of reviews came out. Now it's at a 65 with critics, 73 with audience. And I do think that that's probably about right. I think a 6 to a 7 is probably the range that this film was. But you've got to understand, and you've got to hold DC to a different standard. This movie should have been much better than it was. And you see a lot of these reviews. Wonder Woman 1984 suggests director Patty Jenkins and her star, now producer Gal Gadot, have extracted all the wrong lessons from the successes of the previous film. Cumbersome, jaundiced, and too reliant on cheap screenwriting shorthand. Gal Gadot does her best to overcome ludicrous foes and torturous, overstuffed plotting and choppy editing. Such a shame. Wonder Woman 1984 found me devoid of all emotion except pining for the flick to end. Somewhere along the lines, Jenkins lost the plot. Here's another one. Stretching out an unnecessarily long 151 minutes, Wonder Woman 1984 comes up short when compared to its predecessor. Now, it's not uncommon for a sequel to not live up to the original. One of my all-time favorite sequels, Ghostbusters 2, is not very good. I understand that. But Vigo is scary, and yeah, they're all just mailing it in. But it's like I loved the first one so much that carried me through to the second one. Now, what you're going to see with Wonder Woman, obviously, is you knew they were going to make money on this, and we'll get into the money here in a second, which they made plenty of. But Wonder Woman 3, I believe, will be a huge step back. Too many people will be turned off by this. The material is too unexciting, and the performance looked too lackluster to deliver much more than a stale comic book fantasy. Watching Wonder Woman 1984 is as tough as that race Diana runs at the beginning. A meandering slog that evokes little other than pity for the title hero. Diana deserves better than this too often joyless mess of a narrative. Notice that nobody's really blaming Gal Gadot, her acting or anything. By the way, her gold suit, that was embarrassing. I know that there's, it didn't look good. You see, even the woke media didn't like it. Wonder Woman 1984 replaces girl power with empty platitudes. And you talk about all this kind of, they don't like it. It's downhill from there. Wonder Woman 1984 opening showcases the franchise's potential. Just because a sequel falls short doesn't mean Wonder Woman herself does. Yeah, that's reasonable. I mean, can they come back with a solid third film? Sure. There are movie franchises, specifically ones that run a really long time, that have a better second than the first. Even Rocky would be a good example. But unless you're a purist, here's another interesting scene. Let's talk about Steve Trevor's problematic resurrection in Wonder Woman 1984. Now, I'm not going to give you the details about it because I still think this film is worth watching. It's specifically worth watching if somebody else paid for it. But there's a situation in the movie where Gal hooks up with a ghost or somebody who had possessed a body. Now, I'm not offended by it. I realize it's a stretch, but if the situations were reversed, what would the media be doing? Essentially, this man who's possessed by Steve Trevor could not have consented. So essentially, he gets the R worded by Gal Gadot. Something we can all really wish we... Anyway, but it's true. If the situations were reversed, I think the media would be outraged. Oh my God, she possessed that woman's body. That woman couldn't have consented to those actions. You see, The Wrap, another woke media outlet. Cheetah CGI in Wonder Woman 1984 was awful. Sure, it was. I thought Kristen Wiig did a fine job as Cheetah, but yeah, the CGI was garbage. But you see here, Wonder Woman 3 being fast-tracked following sequel's current $85 million worldwide to date. Now, this film has a $200 million budget. Another $200 million usually gets added on for advertising. If they can make their money back, I think what they're looking at is if they can make their money back in the movie theaters, then it comes down to, did they get $200 million in value with HBO Max subscriptions? And it looks like they're probably projecting they will. The pick released on HBO Max and in the States the past weekend. The sequel was its second weekend abroad, grossing $19.4 million in 42 markets. Combined with the US, it made $36.1. Some users on HBO Max helped Twitter handle reported various glitches, either 4K streaming problems or Roku bad connections. Overall, we hear the insiders that it wasn't DEFCON 4. Yeah, the streaming actually went pretty well. The simultaneous theatrical release of HBO Max and Wonder Woman 1984 was expected to be a one-off, an anomaly given how 60% of domestic marketplaces shuttered because of the lockdowns, and those remaining exhibitors are starving for content. But of course, Warner Media announced that this would be the new normal. You see, a lot of people paid to see it. The movie was entertaining, but the story was ridiculous. Can somebody tell me how the heck Pedro Pascal's character got from a remote island where his son was at the end of the movie? Yeah, I mean, there's so many plot holes in this film. Again, if it's background noise, fine. That's all it was for me. Wonder Woman 3 is coming. You see Discussing Film pointing out Wonder Woman 1984 went from an 89 when the review embargo lifted to a 69 today. Well, it actually went to a 65. And that's because, again, if you're releasing your reviews before the embargo is done, you're on the payroll one way or another because these people still want to get paid. So there's a bunch of fake positive reviews that happen early on. But overall, it probably did okay. I thought the film was mediocre. You see Grace Randolph shilling for it, saying, the reaction is shockingly bad and aggressive. And worst of all, I don't see a group of fans emerging to defend it. That's because the movie really wasn't that great. Please don't be toxic, but if you liked Wonder Woman 1984 at all in any way, could use some of your positive tweets, like literally begging people to shill for this movie. Diorio here saying Nuclear Take, it wasn't a good film. Quarter Blacks in here with simp. I wonder what Warner Brothers Center this time. See, I mean, it seems logical that many people aren't stepping up to defend it because it's not particularly worth defending. Now, you see, of course, the Twitter narrative of men don't like it because they don't like women, which we all know is complete garbage because there were throngs of men pointing up and holding up Wonder Woman 1984 or Wonder Woman in 2 years ago saying, this is how you make a strong female character. There's nothing wrong with Gal's performance or the character itself, but Patty Jenkins was hot trash at writing this film. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.